Hello YouTube and welcome back to 4 locals and 4 decks, and this week I'm super excited to sit here and talk to you guys about the decks I played at my locals this week, especially because I have a state championships in a few days time coming on later in the week. So I felt that this week with the new ban list and with that event coming up, I was really in the mood and in the mode to play Yu-Gi-Oh, and just really excited in general and trying to break the game and really push the boundaries of what's going on. Well, so here's the first deck I played. I guess I call this STAR, the acronym being STAR, Synchron Tenyi Adventure Rose STAR, or you could just call it Synchro Adventure Rose Tenyi. Yeah, it's just whatever. It's just good stuff adventure deck. So looking at the deck list, what are we getting at here? So it's a Scythe deck, it's a Snow deck, and it's a Tenyi deck. We have a few different additions. So we have the tuning engine here with the Jet and the Satellite. So obviously tuning is a good card to mill Tenyis or Water Enchantress with. But Jet and Satellite are pretty strong. If you don't know what Satellite does, essentially when a monster is special summoned from the graveyard, you can summon that card from your hand. So that's really good in combination with the Basil Rose Shoot off the Rose engine, and it's also good with Jet Synchron coming back, and it's also good with the Sword Soul Reborn spell. So the main combo, or one of the main combos, this deck can do a few different combos. Like you're either going to do the standard old format like Tenyi Rose adventure line where you go Baron, pop your Yazi, go into Chixiao, go into Qixing, Longyuan. That kind of line's pretty standard, but this deck can also do a Scythe line. We are playing the Dagda and the Wonder Magician. This is simply, like, Dagda is here simply because, like, Hulk on its own at the moment is not very strong. So, worst comes to worst, you can just Hulk into Jet, into Link, into Dagda, and you Wonder Magician people. So, yeah, Sword Soul Reborn spell is here with the Satellite Synchron, simply to make a Dark Attribute Chaofeng. So you, in the turn where you go Baron, pop your Yazi, make Chixiao, you search Sword Soul Summit, and if you have your Satellite Synchron, because you searched it with your tuning, you can summon back your Yazi and make the Dark Chaofeng, which is really, really strong, obviously against Despia. So looking at the main deck, 55 cards. I didn't go too great at this locals. I went 2-2, but the impression I got out of the deck was like it was really super strong. Like if you go first, you're most likely winning. Your boards are ridiculously good. The only main problem is the extra deck is a bit rigid. The Tenyi and the Sword Soul engine do give your deck rigidity that I don't really like, because in theory you would rather play like Dark Charmer, Selene Access Code, not get worm locked. You would rather not require a vanilla on the field in order to activate Tenyi effects. Like the Tenyis in this deck are literally just like Tuner Extender and level 7 monster. Very rarely are you using their effects, only in very luxurious places where you're already comboing. So if you're not comboing and you need to use their effects, then yeah. The Vessel is also like really cracked in this deck, but I did brick on it once in my loss, which was very sad. The side deck overall is nothing special. I still haven't drawn Change of Heart much recently. Change of Heart is pretty good in, I think, any deck where you have a Hulk in it, and especially in the current metagame with the level 10 threats, level 8 threats on your enemy board, which is usually Mirror Jade, level 8, Chixiaos and enemy Longyuans and Barons. It's really useful often to Change of Heart, take those monsters so you can use them. As also, this is really good at breaking the Sword Soul board, because if you use the standard Sword Soul board of Longyuan and Chixiao, you Change of Heart the Longyuan, you attack over the Chixiao, and then their blackout they have in their back row is now dead. So this card trades very efficiently if they do not make Baron de Floor. And yeah, Evenly Mash has also been performing pretty highly for me. A lot of boards don't actually end in Omni Negates anymore. They go for greedy, draw, advantage combos, which is actually correct of them to do as well, but evenly matched can really punish that. So yeah, this deck is crazy good, and definitely something I really enjoyed playing. So on to the second deck. So this is P.U.N.K Therion, Lightsworn, Synchron. I was, so happy to play this deck. This deck was so much fun. I went 4-0 at this locals, 4-0. I won this locals with this deck, and it was an absolute blast. I learned so much because, playing a deck for the first time is like so enjoyable because you just get to work out all the little interactions as you go. Like, I had a general idea based on some OCG decks, but I didn't want to play hand traps. I just wanted to play full combo and see what the cards did. And I think this deck really encapsulates well what the deck does. So, card by card in this deck, in case you don't know what it is, 3 Therion King Reggie, 3 Therion Lily, 3 Therion Duke, 1 Bull, and 1, I think, Borea. No, Leaper Fum. So I'm only playing 3 Duke because you can target a Psychic, so you play the P.U.N.K engine, so you can target a Psychic. Bull is good to pop, and Fam is good to bounce. All in all, I really enjoyed that. Like, I never really bricked on the Therion cards. It was always pretty workable. And then the P.U.N.K engine, the 2 Deer Note, 3 Foxy Toon, 3 Ogre Dance. I just played another blank level 3. I don't play the Fusion with this one, so I probably should play the Fusion. That was probably a miscalculation on my part. And 3 Xiaomin, because in this deck, Xiaomin is your main starter card. You pretty much play with every single game. And I just want to point out, I want to take time to really appreciate no P.U.N.K Deer Note. This card's power level is incredibly high, and if you have not played a deck with the new P.U.N.K engine, I highly recommend you do so, because yeah, this card is super ridiculously strong. Oftentimes I found myself tribute summoning this card. It was just wild. And you max Foxy Toon and max Ogre Dance because they're level 8, and they're also light and they're dark, so your main plays with Chaos Ruler and with Zombie Vampire, so you kind of want to min-max them. Overall, very, very solid engine. Emergency Teleport to 3 was a really good thing Konami did. Like, it is broken in theory and in essence, but I really appreciate Konami giving us strong cards for us to work with. Like, it's just so much fun. It's really cool. And then I played a Lightsworn engine kind of just for fun. Raiden is just like the best one, I guess. You can normally mill it. The levels are pretty relevant because I play a Raiden and a Minerva. Like, some P.U.N.Ks are level 8, some are level 7. You can make 9 with Deer Note, 8 with Deer Note of the Minerva. Like, the main idea of the Minerva was we're with the Deer Note. But yeah, I play all kinds of levels of synchros, so the levels are quite relevant. So Naturia Rose Whip is kind of the end board I was going with. If you don't know what this card does, it's your opponent can only activate 1 spell or trap per turn, and Therion King Reggie does not negate activation, he negates effects. So best friends with Naturia Rose Whip. Also, Hope Harbinger doesn't negate, it only negates effects, not activations. Very good. And of course, the Disc Colosseum can protect this by battle. So you have a very simple, efficient and easy lock to set up that really puts a lot of pressure on your opponent, especially because a lot of the decks are very spell heavy at the moment. In a single turn, they need to require to play like so many spells, especially in Despia with Allure, they need a lot of spells. So summoning this card with the Colosseum up means they can't just simply normal Alubar attack over it. They have to really work hard to get rid of it, i.e. just put them on the droplet. So Rose Whip, amazing card. Also, Synergy being a level 3 plant, because we are playing the Melee of the Trees in the extra deck. This card doesn't really come up in Solitaire, but in practice, I summoned it like close to every single round. It was highly relevant, because often the mills were bad, or I did get hand trapped. So you need to sometimes find creative ways to make your Therion cards live, because this dumps your Lily, and with any other Therion in your hand, that gets all your plays going. So I played a Synchron engine, I played a Jet and a Quick Draw, mainly because they're machines for King Reggie. and both of which can instantly dump a Therion out of your hand that you can start comboing with. And then as random extenders, I just played a Wielder and a Tracker. The main ideas of these cards is to obviously make the melee of the trees, but their level is also relevant to synchro with as well, some of the big boss monsters. Also increases the power of your Amazing Dragon. Yeah, your P.U.N.K Amazing Dragon, because he needs different named level 3 psychic monsters. So I just wanted to make some random ones to increase his power level. Terraforming the 3 Colosseum and the 3 Argyro system. Argyro system was an interesting card. I wasn't fully aware that it was only one effect per turn, but I soon realized before that tournament that that's how it worked. But nonetheless, it still performed really highly. You actually very rarely activate the effect when you draw it. In this deck, you want to try and mill it, because you're milling so many cards in a turn via your card effects. You know, your mill 9, fill fine combo. It's really easy to dump this into Therion, you just get infinite advantage. And then the rest of the deck's pretty self-explanatory. I've only played one Therion charge. I can play more of this. I just really wanted to test how often I would want to search it or need it. And yeah, it was always good whenever I drew it, and it's really good to have in the deck, so maybe I'm going to play 3 in the future. Extra deck, I only link monster as Hulk, because we're not really linking, we're mainly rank 8 and synchro. So we play a formula. A Chaos Ruler is your main card, you summon it every game. 1 card E-Tele is, you know, Chaos Ruler into Zombie Vampire, if that's the way you choose. I played a Hot Red, because I can go Jet Synchron with the Chaos Ruler for the Hot Red. Crocosaur, Baron, Amazing Dragon, Psychic, and Punisher. I cannot preach this card's power level enough. It is really, really, really strong. Again, it's a card you'll never summon when you're solitairing, but in practice, in real games, for me, on that day, it came up every single match, almost every single game. It just ends games, yeah, because you inherently pay life points with your P.U.N.K effects, and then you summon it and you end games. And this is really important in the current meta, because you need this in your deck in order to punish Despia. If they summon Masquerade, they can often burn you near close to death, and then hopefully you can get, you know, an 8 and a 3 to make this. I played a Final Sigma just for the Raiden, never really came up, can cut this one. And then melee, the 2 Galaxies, the Ding, the Vampire, and the Zeus. Going back, if I play this again, I would cut probably a few of the synchros, and I would play Pain Gainer and 7 Sins to make your Zeus a bit stronger. And then looking at the side deck, nothing too special. I'm trying to do the Talons, Mind Control, Change of Heart to take my opponent's level 8 monsters that they'll end on. Same with Alpha. I'll use Alpha to break boards because I'm playing rank 8s, just give me additional synergy. I think these are really strong cards and they performed very well for me on the day. So at the time of recording, I've seen a lot of regional lists pop up with this stuff in it, and they're playing more standard-ish recipes based on OCG. I do recommend, if you want to give that deck a shot, you probably will play those decks because they're a bit more stable in what they want to aim to achieve. But if you're looking for just full combo fun and milling and crazy fun times, I recommend give the deck a shot. It's really cool and really fun. Okay, so the next deck, the third deck, these kind of go in two. This deck was wild, but the first time I played this, I went 2-2 and I misplayed the 2 losses like brutally. I was so mad at myself, so I had to take this to the next locals and play it again, but obviously adjust it. So what the hell are we looking at? We're looking at, like, I guess you'd call it P.U.N.K Adventure Synchro, or, you know, based with P.U.N.K, but I'm also playing TRICKSTAR. Why TRICKSTAR? Well, Korra Bane is a level 5, which makes it really easy to make Chaos Ruler, and TRICKSTAR Light Stage trades really well into Branded in red, which your Despia opponent will always have. So you have like 3 ways to freeze back row, and 5 level 5 extenders that are also light, which is really sick. If you don't know what TRICKSTAR Mandrake does, essentially when it's discarded out of your hand, it summons. It's a level 2 monster. I think of playing this simply because, you know, Foxy Toon discards from the hand. The Adventure Engine discards from the hand. I'm not sure if I'll continue to play that one again, but it was good on the day. So this version was 60 cards, maxed out Illusion, maxed out Magician's Souls. We have some hand traps with some cross out and talents. And then Small World. I really hate Small World because in theory, if you look at this deck, you have a lot of effects that need you to discard cards. And in general, think about like if you go second and you have to like hand trap, and then you need to discard 2 cards of card effects like, you know, Right, Fateful, Foxy Tune, and then you have a Small World. You're just down so many cards. So I definitely don't want to play this card again because, and when I drew it, I already had the monsters I need anyway. But I would just rather hard draw a good monster in general than a Small World. But like, it could be wrong logic. I think maybe Small World, if you don't have any hand traps in your deck, which is really counterintuitive. That's just how I feel when I play it. But what is this deck trying to do? I guess in summary, this deck's trying to do the standard Rose based Adventure Punk combo, and we're now a Scythe deck because we kind of have to. So your main end boards, like if you full combo, you have like Snow Collector, Token Engrave, you have an Omni Negate on the field with your Dagda and your Hulk, and oftentimes you have an Omega as well, or a Shooting Riser. And yeah, this deck is really cool, and probably going to be playing something like this for my state championships just to make it a bit better. I am playing a Junk Synchron simply because it was a useful bridge for Small World, and also because level 3 was quite good with the levels I needed in the deck. And then this is not that's actually a Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, and not a Hot Red Dragon. That's a mistake on my end, but this deck was so strong, and Korribane's level is so good because you special Korribane, and then if you like have the Xiaomin in your hand already, or you know, if you go Korribane Foxy Tune, it's very hard for them because they can't interact with the Xiaomin anymore because you already have the material to make Chaos Ruler. Like, this card overperformed for me, and like even in the lines where you can go like no right at all, right? You just go, you know, special Korribane, and you either have Xiaomin or Rose Dragon, and you just, you know, you start comboing with Chaos Ruler, you mill into your right, and then you go from there. So this deck was so much fun. The extra deck has an interesting line. I kind of feel a bit boxed in playing this Jet Synchron. Like, tuning is great, and Jet Synchron is a really good starter in the deck, but you feel kind of boxed into like Fit Link Kribo. Like, I couldn't reasonably justify playing the Charmer's Cillian Access Code. I only had like 1 slot left, so I decided to play Borrelsword Dragon. It does actually come up, it's quite easy to do. Like, you have many like 1-card Hulks, and the Hulk makes the Borrelsword, so you can very easily going second. For example, if you get D-Buried, for example, you could go, you know, right, Tuna, Borrelsword, you know, Token Griffin, Borrelsword, and try and kill, right? Or you can go Illegal Knight, try and bounce some cards, and then hit into the Illegal Knight. That does come up, but would it just be better to play Cillian Access Code? Probably would. And then where do I adjust? Because playing the formula is super nice, because, you know, you got 6 souls, a 1-for-1, and you've got the Jet Synchron, the tuning, and the 1-for-1, and the Foolish. So you really often, you'll like draw 2 off souls, and then you draw again off Formula Synchron, which is really nice. So I don't want to cut this, but I might have to. The Omega is simply here just for like hands where you draw Korribane, and you just have extra lines to, you know, use level 5 and level 3, and then Omega gets to put back, say, your Chaos Ruler if you banished it. And then you need to play a level 10 because like you need to play 2 level 10s because the Scythe and the Wonder Magician turn into another level 10, so you often make both. And with Snow in your deck, like Cheng Yang just becomes an unbelievably powerful card. Like, you can trigger this every turn, even on your turn, like even quite aggressively as well. And then Psychic End Punisher makes a comeback here because, again, it's very easy to, with the Punk combo with Diano, to make him to just end games cheaply. Side deck, nothing too special here, very standard stuff, evenly matched, incredible high-performing card. So this deck I went 2-2 with, and then the next deck, very similar, but no hand traps. And then I decided to max out on the Punk engine, increase that, put in Satellite Synchron because it was slightly better than the Junk. And this deck, when I went 4-0, I won that locals, or tied first place. And yeah, like when I played this, I was just like, holy shit, this deck is so good. I decided to test out a Regulus, and a terraforming, and the Disc Coliseum, just because I have the tunings and a few machines that are very easy to set up. I probably won't play that again. Like, you just don't need to. Like, the skeleton of this deck is only like anywhere in between 36 to like 42 cards, we worked out. So you have like quite a lot of breathing room. You could easily play 50, but as I was been playing this deck more, simply due to the, you know, the nature of the Chaos Ruler mills, like, you don't want to mill Griffin destroying your engine. You want to have a certain level of punk cards in your deck, so like if you draw Dia Note, it's not too bad. And especially in this deck, drawing Dia Note is really good because you have Magician Souls that you contribute it for, you have Korobane, and you have like adventure cards you can like tribute summon over to normal, like to get that on the field. You know, if you have E-Telly, if they interact with Foxy Toon, for example, that came up a lot. And the baby Chaos Dragons were like perfect because it's very easy to get light and dark. I'm thinking playing more Chaos cards, even thinking like maybe Chaos Space has a place, or there's a combo with Chaos Valkyria I might try as well. Because in theory, with the Chaos Valkyria, you could later on in the turn banish it with your Chaos Ruler, so then Chaos Valkyria will send a Snow, right? And then Shooting Riser sends the Token Collector. Or you could also, if you can't make Dagda and you have Baron, you could Chaos Valkyria, send Scythe, and then summon it back with Baron. I don't think you would do that, but it is possible. It is possible. So yeah, I'm definitely working on this because it just feels so good to play. It feels so strong. The end boards are unbelievable. The only issue I do have with the extra deck, I really want to try and work on it and fit in some Charmers instead of Borrowsword. That will require me testing without shooing myself into this Linkuriboh with the Jet. But as I said, playing Jet has been really good. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. I hope that was very informative and not too ranty, because there's just so much going on in Yu-Gi-Oh right now, and I'm just so happy and enjoying playing the game, and happy to share what I've been doing, because we love Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh is great, and we got to try and win our nationals. So anyway, thanks for watching 4 Locals 4 Decks, episode 4. Thank you. Goodbye.